Ladies and gentlemen, now we start the next session, chaired by Ryuji Hamamoto, Yutaka Saito. Please start the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. Now we are going to start the session Big Data and AI for Hepatology. My name is Ryuji Hamamoto from National Cancer Center, Japan, collaborating with Professor Yutaka Saito as moderators. So as you may know, artificial intelligence is one of the important cutting-edge skills in various fields, including medicine. So today, we would like to focus on the artificial intelligence in the hepatology field, and many participants is very welcome, and exciting discussion is very, very welcome. So we are going to start. Please.
Okay, I'm Yutaka Saito, National Cancer Center, Endoscopy Division. I'd like to introduce the first two speakers. Due to the overlapping tasks, so we have to change the number of the speakers. The first, I'm really happy to introduce Professor Manuel Medinzabal from Argentina. Please join us.
Good afternoon, everybody. Many thanks for your invitation. I'm really thrilled to be here this afternoon. So the title of my presentation is, What are the potential uses of AI in hepatology? I have nothing to disclose regarding this presentation. So as we know, AI, it's a growing field. It's really surged into PubMed in the last year. Under the name of artificial intelligence, we have more than 37,000 citations. And if we search for machine learning, we will have also more than 30,000 citations. So this is really complex to get updated. So I will try to do my best this afternoon. First, I would like to start with the definition, because we can read a lot of definitions of AI, and I think this one will be the most complete. So AI refers to the intelligent function attributed to humans, like visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, that is displayed, in this case, by machines. And then we have machine learning, that is a subset of AI that focuses on the development of algorithms that can learn from the data itself. And what about chatbots? These are software programs that can simulate conversation with human users, and this is perhaps the part of artificial intelligence that we use most. So the spectrum, or this potential spectrum of AI in medicine, is huge, as you can see in this figure. And we can use it in public health and try to trace outbreaks. Of course, we can still use it in image analysis, like pathology analysis, and so on. In this case, we can also look and analyze different clinical trials and get the outcomes of those data more quickly. But we also need to understand what big data means. And this is basically the massive amounts of complex information generated by humans or machines that are too large to store, process, analyze, or interpret using conventional methods. And when we want to understand what big data is, we should take into care the 5 V's. Volume, it should be a huge data set. The variety, big data can storage a lot of different types of data, and omics, proteomics, those are very good examples. The velocity on which data is stored, this data can be generated and acquired by humans, or also can be auto-generated. The veracity or the reliability of the data, it's also very important, and the value of this data as well. So when we go to machine learning applicability in clinical practice, we know that these are algorithms that can absorb information from large volume medical data and find out their relationship with a defined condition or outcome. Machine learning differs from classical statistics due to its capacity to efficiently model non-linear complex relationships, and these algorithms can include self-updating instructions to improve their accuracy. So we have different models of machine learning, as you can see. A decision tree model, this classic binary model, a yes-no, that goes down and still it gets to the last node or leaf. We also have the regression models where we provide the algorithm with the input and the outcomes. We also can have the random forest, which are many decision tree models that can get data from the different parts of the large data sets and combine all the information. And finally, we can also have the artificial neural network, and this is deeply associated with deep learning that models the human brains, interconnect neurons in a nonlinear fashion. It has multiple layers, as you can see, and data sets are evaluated and reprocessed many times. So we have different options to apply according to what we need or researchers needs in their work. This could be the most widely used algorithm in medical applications, and it's the supervised machine learning where we provide baseline features. This would be the input, and we will also tell the algorithm what is the outcome of interest that we are looking for. We also can have unsupervised algorithms, and in this case, the algorithm itself will search for the data, the associations, and will cluster the information according to what the algorithm finds. So what are the potential applications of AI in our field, in hepatology? So I try to define 4 different applications. We can find a lot more, but regarding the time that I have, I will show you some of them. Regarding imaging, perhaps it's the most popular or easy to interpret. I will not go into details because I understand that someone else is going to address this topic. So we have different examples, and one could be the neural network to diagnose hepatic steatosis based on ultrasound images. We can improve elastography regarding the area under the curve from 0.7 to 0.9 in those patients with moderate to advanced fibrosis, but it has its limitations, of course. Data acquisition varies according to different scanners, imaging, and protocols, and neural networks should adapt to different reconstruction methods. Of course, not all the imaging methods are the same. So we need to standardize the measurement and analysis of imaging biomarkers. So what about histology? And this is a good example. Can machine learning predict clinical significant portal hypertension in patients with muscle cirrhosis? So let me give you a little bit background. Many years ago, we found that thickness of fibrotic septa and small nodule size were independently predictive of clinical significant portal hypertension. Then it was found that an association between HBPG and collagen proportionate area quantified by morphometry. And closer to this time, digital image analysis based on machine learning algorithm has shown reliability of muscle D histologic evaluation. And a couple of years ago, machine learning enabled the identification of histologic features associated with clinical disease progression. And this was defined by fibrosis patterns in the biopsy and portal inflammation. So then we come to this study. This was a study analyzing simtuzumab in patients with muscle D cirrhosis that was negative. But anyhow, the authors take the information because every patient got a liver biopsy done and a HBPG measurement. And using this data, they created a Path AI research platform in Harvard, and they created a neural model to recognize fibrosis patterns with HBPG. Their primary endpoint was to create a machine learning HBPG score. So in this first figure on the left side, you can see a classic liver biopsy with H&E stain and trichrome. The blue stain is fibrosis, and on the right side, you can see the heat map created by the algorithm, and the heat map was associated with the HBPG measurement. Also, the score they created was significantly correlated with true HBPG in both sets. And most interestingly, this score was not influenced by the concomitant use of beta blockers therapy that many of these patients have. And what about identifying at-risk patients? Well, machine learning was compared to non-invasive tests in identifying clinical significant fibrosis stages of muscle D. So in this study, they included more than 1,300 patients. They were all classified with liver biopsy, transient elastography, and laboratory testing. So they have a trained set and a test set. And they performed different machine learning models: the logistic regression, random forest, and artificial neural network. They included 17 different feeders, and they compared with FIB4 with elastography. And finally, the random forest had the higher accuracy and area under the curve than logistic regression and the classic NITs. Interesting thing of this study is that the first author is high school student. He is under 18, so this can show you that we can get support from other people like this student. Amazing. Continuing with the same topic, identifying patients at risk, we have this FIND-C program that developed a high-precision machine learning algorithm in partnership with a US-based health system. Their aim was to assess improvement in a screening to diagnosis ratio. So they had a cohort model including more than 50,000 patients with Hep C, and they compared them with 245,000 patients without Hep C, and they evaluated 32 clinical health variables that they were previously selected by experts in the field. So what they found out that whenever they included more variables in the algorithm, the precision was better. As you can see, if they included demographics, treatments, labs, and social determinants of health, the precision of the model increased. And what is very interesting is that the screening to diagnosis ratio was a fourfold improved compared to classic ways of finding patients with Hep C. And what about predicting outcomes? This is a small study, but I really like it. I am a transplant hepatologist, and one of our main problems is when we need to select the donor and define if it has a steatotic liver or not. Well, that's kind of difficult many times, and we need the pathologist in many opportunities. So in this study from France and Italy, it is a small study. They included 130, 140 donors. They create a semi-supervised machine learning model and compare it to traditional histopathological analysis to identify the presence of steatosis higher than 30%. So they took a picture of the liver intraoperative with a smartphone. In that case, it was an iPhone 6, an old model. And they also included the donor variables and compared the model, the machine learning model, with graft biopsies. And this model had a 93% sensitivity and 89% accuracy for detection of steatotic graft. It was really impressive. So lately, I had the pleasure of participating in this study, and this is an AI-generated model to predict 90-day survival in alcoholic-associated hepatitis. This study included 1,700 patients or more from around the globe, and using different machine learning models, they created the Altane score and compared this score with the classic model of MELD score and all its variables, with MADRS score, ABIC score, and so on. And Altane outperformed all the other scores to predict 90-day mortality. Not only that, it was also useful to select candidates that would potentially benefit with steroids use. And what about chatbots? I find out, at least in South America and in Argentina, that AI exploded once this chatbots became widely available, and everybody kind of realized how advanced all this methodology was. So the pros of the chatbots is that they are available 24/7, as you all know. You can have a quick triage to identify urgent cases. You can also get material for patient education, data management, and it's very intuitive. It's very simple to handle. What are the cons? Well, these chatbots can hallucinate, right? And sometimes they can give answers that have nothing to do with what you have just questioned them. Many times outputs can be superficial, and the privacy is not very well defined, and it has some diagnostic limitations. My gut feeling is that many of these things will improve in the short term. And what else we can ask ChatGPT? And this is an example I tweeted recently. Some researchers asked GPT 50 questions of unanswered research questions, in the liver transplantation field. And these questions were then rated by 27 different physicians. And truth is that the results were very good, and many of these physicians thought that these questions were really very helpful and necessary to address. And we also have a chatbot that is specifically built for liver issues, and this was created by the Spanish Association for the Study of the Liver. It's called Liver, and they have been promoting this chatbot a lot. I have no access to it. I'm not a member from the Spanish Association. However, I watch many tutorials and videos, and it's really impressive. I mean, they keep updating this with scientific data and liver-oriented, and it's really fantastic. There are some problems with the classic statisticians when it comes to AI models. And here we have a very good review article from the New England Journal of Medicine. And anyone who likes this topic, I suggest to review the New England. It has a series based on AI, and it's really very interesting. So in this case, what is the classic statistical model that we all know? Statisticians or clinicians, we all have a research question. We select or we pick the variables of interest, and after doing the analysis, we have a risk prediction model, no? And this can be analyzed, this can be evaluated and reproduced by many other investigators. But the problem is that many of these models cannot scale up to large data sets. When it comes to AI model, it's different. The algorithm picks the variables of interest and shows a risk prediction model. The good thing is that you can scale up to very large data sets. The problem is that many times this cannot be reproduced, and it's there when we find the so-called black box. So we have some ethical dilemmas in AI. Privacy and data safety, I have been talking about this a little bit, and the use of different algorithms should not compromise privacy, of course. Security safeguards and patient privacy so far are not well defined, and that's a big problem. What about discrimination? There is some concern of propagating racial, ethnic, socio-economic, and gender-related biases of underlying data. For example, all these big data sets that you can find in many countries, there are a lot of people with low socio-economic class that get no access to medical care. So many of these patients are not represented on these data sets, and that's a very good point to take care. And what about black box? Well, what I just said. All the algorithms should be transparent and its outcomes should be explicable. So my closing remarks, machine learning is already significantly changing the landscape of medical practice. We have different AI techniques that have the potential to improve many aspects of our daily practice. Patients and physicians lack interpretability of AI and the black box nature of most machine models. And we, as physicians, we need to fit the algorithm, not to create it. I mean, if you can create it also, it's an asset, but the thing is that we should find a kind of partnership with people who can really build these models, and we should fit them. And it's very hard to have a degree in informatics and start all over this again. I mean, we need to have support the clinical part of this analysis. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Mendes-Zabal, for talking about the AI and the big data for the liver disease. And we'd like to introduce the Professor Sheena, is now staying there as a discussant. So Professor Sheena, do you have any comments or questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Manuel Mendez, for comprehensive talk about the potential in hepatitis. So, however, I would like to at first clarify my major is medical engineering, not hepatologist. So the reason I stay here is I also developed the AI system for using ultrasound image for tumor, hepatic tumor. So, but I'm not an expert of hepatology. So it's difficult to completely follow up the detail in a talk of today's 4 speakers. So I'd like to focus on the engineering aspect. It is but very important in the development, the clinical application. It is a data bias. So I'd like there are many kind of data bias. For example, age and racial and ethnic. But another one is intra-observer by hepatologist and examiner, and imbalance of classify and recognize. So any bias may be okay, but I'd like to ask the question, are there any situation in your research the data bias is concerned? And how are you dealing with that, the problem?
You mean data biases?
Yes, any bias is okay.
Well, of course, this is a point of concern. The thing to improve or diminish those biases, I believe that your data should be reproducible, not only by you or even in your own study where you have a training set and where you try to validate your own data, but it would be much better if someone from other group, an external validation, would also be really helpful to diminish all those biases that you mentioned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, question please.
Thank you. Thank you for the interesting presentation. Really exciting times as a physician and a scientist and also someone who is excited by technology. This is great. Can you please share a bit more on the FIND-C program where we're identifying high-risk patients? It sounded like it was only in the US currently. Is there a way to scale this to other countries, and how could we go about doing this?
Well, totally. This has been presented here in this meeting, the FIND-C program in Australia. I don't have the data. I pulled this data from EASL. It has not become as a full paper yet. And they use those large data sets that they have in the US. I believe that these algorithms should be adapted for each country. For example, in the US, they have social determinants of health registered. I'm not sure that everybody has that level of education and access to how many visits they have to the clinic or to the ER. There are many things that we cannot open the game to every country itself. I believe that every country that counts with a large data sets like this one should adapt the model to their own benefit.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. So because of the time limitation, we would like to move on the next topics. Professor Hitoshi Mochizuki, please join us.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'd like to say it's a great pleasure and honor to speak here today. I'm going to talk about now handle big data and around us and tumor microenvironment analysis using AI, including machine learning. I'll start with the concept of big data and artificial intelligence. We are now in an era of extracting value from analysis. The development of internet and other information and communication technologies has increased big data. New value can be from combining data. There are two types of data, structured and unstructured data. I'll skip these details, and I'm sure they have been explained by other speakers. Various statistical analyses are performed on the structural data. Machine learning performs complex statistical processes. As you know, the analysis of unstructured data, like a picture, is evolving at a rapid pace. Expected with deep learning, I'll not cover this subject today. These methods are collectively referred to as artificial intelligence, AI platforms, professional analysis. However, an eye of judge is essential. The closest big data we have is electronic medical record. This is also called hospital information system. This is a huge database that includes this and other sections. This Kaplan-Meier shows the survival rate by cancer stage for the 29,000 patients with 22 types of cancer registered at our hospital, divided into 3 periods. This is enough big data for a bird's eye view from the human eye. We have selected 6 types of cancers with characteristic changes. In the lower column, breast cancer, cervical cancer, and lung cancer have shown an improvement in survival rate with each passing year. But in the upper column, cholangiocarcinoma, HCC, and pancreas cancer have no improvement, especially in stage 4. However, to analyze the cause of this in detail, we have to look at the complex background. This is why we must confront HCC even with big data and AI. This figure is from the ongoing AHOC APASUR Hepatology Oncology Consortium study. Currently, 70 institutions have enrolled more than 3,000 HCC cases with onset since 2013. AHOC session is currently being held in parallel with this session, and this shows the number of new drugs used over time. This is also a bird's eye view of real-world data. We hope that use of these immune checkpoint inhibitors will improve the outcome of refractory HCC. Understanding tumor microenvironment is essential to considering the effectiveness and side effects of ICI treatment. The TME is composed of cancer cell, lymphocyte, and granulocyte, and stroma cells. About AI for hepatology, my presentation has 3 parts. First, to know the total T-cell prevalences. We analyzed TCRA gene. Next, to understand the subpopulation of immune cells, we perform digital sorting using a transcriptome. And then I look at echotyper with the analyzed cell state co-occurrence pattern. First, I'll talk about T-cell extract, which derives the whole amount of T cells from the analysis of TCRA gene rearrangement. Samples were obtained in Yamanashi Central Hospital during the clinical course with informed consent. This is a principle of why we can know the number of T cells from degree of TCRA rearrangement. Lymphocytes acquired their functions as T cells by having T cell receptor on the cell surface. The final step in the completion of TCR is a rearrangement of TCRA to create a TCR alpha chain. First, rearrangement of TCRB occurs, completing the TCRB chain. This triggers the start of TCRA rearrangement. The TCRA is characterized by its inclusion of TCRD gene, which makes a TCR delta chain. For TCRA rearrangement, this TCRD must be removed. Then TCRA rearrangement starts, making the TCR alpha chain. And completing the TCR. For the reason, the degree of TCRA rearrangement can be used to determine the number of T cells. How can we know the state of TCRA rearrangement? This hint is number of leads in the exon of TCRA. The number of leads in the part of gene decreases due to the removal of TCRD and TCRA rearrangement. Using this decreasing curve, machine learning estimates the probability of T cell presence. A comparison among the 6 cancer types shows HCC has the lowest amount of T cells, right side. It seems to be HCC follows the major immunological handicap. Next, I'll go to the digital sorting by transcriptome. We used Excel, which divided into detailed immunocompetent cells. To understand the subpopulation of immune cells from RNA expression, it is necessary to understand that the different gene expression occurs according to the different functions. We know well that high CTL expression is regulatory T cells, and high LAG3 expression is exhausted T cells. However, the gene expression do not appear specifically in specific cells, but also expressed in many other cells. So it is impossible to know the proportions of those cells from the transcriptome by human judgment. AI-based digital sorting solved this problem. As noted on previous slides, each cell has different RNA expression that correspond its specific function. Based on approximately 20,000 gene expression, the signature of each cell is categorized. On the other hand, we extract RNA from the bulk tumor sample and measure the bulk transcriptome, and import these data into an AI program. These programs use deconvolution and other logic to calculate the existence probability of each cells. A program called Excel divides cells into 64 cell types according to the transcriptome. For example, this divided CD4 positive helper T cells, shown in pink, into 9 subpopulations, and CD8 positive effector T cells, shown in green, into 4 subpopulations. This is the result for 4 cancer types, 194 individuals, and 441 samples of our hospital. The brown indicated gastric cancer, pink is HCC, blue is lung cancer, and green indicates bile duct cancer. Sorry, the legend is too detailed. Similar to the number of T cells by TCR gene analysis, we see that total amount of immune cells indicated by the height of the bar chart tend to be low in HCC. We have just clustered 333 HCC cases. HCC were classified into 3 clusters. Cluster A has high T helper 2 Treg natural killer and M1 macrophage. B has high T helper 1 and M2 macrophage. And C has high CD4, CD8 B cells. This cluster C is environment that is called hot tumor in the previous concept. By this time, 6 patients had been treated with ICI. Those patients are indicated by red arrows. We contracted this with a lot of clinical information. In the clinical information, all 3 cases, cluster B, were associated with immune-related adverse event, IRAE, but none of the 3 cases in cluster C. However, we cannot assess the prognosis due to a short observation period. To help me understand it, we explored the differentially expressed gene between these 2 groups. As a result, 14 DEGs could be found. These are selected 14 DEGs. We are currently in the process of carrying out a conventional GO analysis and pathway analysis of these DEGs. The third method is ecotyper. It integrates cell state co-occurrence patterns by AI power. Unlike conventional analysis method, ecotype is a machine learning framework that integrates chaos. As with digital sorting, ecotyper identifies 69 transcriptationally defined cell types. By analyzing co-occurrence patterns by AI, it discovered 10 clinically distinct multicellular communities called ecotype with strong conservation. Wait a moment. iPad is stored. In this slide, co-occurrence of many cells make up the ecotyper. It is represented as a network diagram. The width of each expression is degrees of similarity between sets. Each ecotype is composed of certain combination of probabilities of existence. This is its co-occurrence of 96 cell states. Please note that ecotyper specific survival associate across 16 TCGA data. color-coded by favorable survival with blue or unfavorable survival with red. Ecotype 1 and 2 are short survival, while ecotypes 9 and 10 are long survival. All of these specific to immune tissue were ubiquitous across tumor types. Each ecotype has specific characteristics. Ecotypes 1 and 2, shown in red and yellow, have lymphocyte depletion and high risk of death. Ecotype 9 and 10, shown in brown and blue, have high immune activity, interferon signaling, a high B-cell content, and long-time survival. All our HCC 333 samples were analyzed by the ecotyper. Each sample was classified into different proportions into 10 ecotypes. Heat mapping divided all HCC specimens into two broad categories. The remaining task is to contract and validate the clinical information of these groups. As in the past, AI-based analysis methods are currently advancing. On the left is a nanopore sequencer that can be sequenced with such small device. On the right, Visium developed by 10x Genomics, which measures RNA expressions on slide glass and enabled spatial expression analysis. We believe that new analysis methods will continue to be developed and AI will become more essential for analysis. Big data and AI technologies broader view of real world and universal treatment strategies for all cancer types, including HCC. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Mochizuki, for showing us the detailed analysis and use of AI for the molecular medicine hepatology. Are there any questions for this? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It's really interesting. So I may have missed. So in the Excel analysis, so for the reference matrix, so your lab prepared that matrix, or I mean the reference matrix with 64 cell types. That's one you prepare in your lab, or the profile of that's the reference matrix.
Sorry, would you please translate for me?
Sorry, please say it again.
Oh, sorry. So I'm talking about the Excels, the second part in the talk. Using Excel approach, we need like one reference matrix. So I've seen in your presentation, there's one part like cell sorting and profile that to get that reference matrix. So I was wondering that that's generated in your lab or it's a public reference matrix.
Sorry, I can translate that.
なんかその先生のデータがこう先生のラボでやられたのか、なんかパブリックの。
All the data is analyzed in my hospital. I'm with Genome Analysis Center, and all the data is analyzed in our laboratory.
Right. Yeah.
No outsourcing.
Yeah. Because. Yeah. Right. Okay. So thank you.
And probe and other system construct in our investigator and me. right?
Yeah, it's a special hospital. It's a special hospital. Okay, next question, please.
Thank you for the nice presentation, Ishida from Kinda University. I want to ask one clinical question. I'm very curious because you show the classification of tumor based on the transcript from the tumor, and you show the association between the transcriptome analysis from tumor and IRA. But generally, the tumor RNA expression of the tumor and the IRA, it occurs in another organ, is totally different. So why these two events is associated with? Do you have any idea?
So it's a limitation of our study that the sample is tumors only have a tumor sample. So IRA is, as you know, as you said, general condition, but it is necessary to analyze the whole body, especially in blood or other skin and other regions. It is necessary, I think, but I have the samples within the tumor, only tumor samples. So we must analyze about this range.
Yeah, I want to ask if these cases you have shows IRA have a strong immune reaction to the tumor, so I can agree with this result. So I want to ask the clinical course of these three cases regarding the tumor response after IRA.
So
I'm sorry, this is a total clinical question. So please, I want you to answer after this session. Thank you very much.
Sorry for you.
Okay, the last question, please.
Thank you very much for your super study. I'm Letty from Osaka Metropolitan University. I'm very interested with your ecotype program. You can verify 10 kinds of the ecotype, yes. And the ecotype numbers 9 and 10 like prone to longer survival rate, right? Yes. May I ask you that more explanation? Since when you saw the 333 the sample showing the 10, every patient may have own type ecotype. So how can you whether they any cut-off value to say that this patient is prone for the ecotype 9 or this patient is prone to ecotype 1? Can you explain more?
So ecotype is based on the TCGA data, and it's robust for 60 type of cancers. So their survivability is data of TCGA and from the onset to the death. But it is validated by science or serums.
Yes.
You have very common phenotypes of survival rate. So I use this ecotype for consideration.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Mochizuki. Okay, the chair will now turn to Professor Hamamoto.
Okay, let us move to the next speaker. The third speaker is Professor Yutaka Saito. Could you please start your presentation?
Thank you, Professor Hamamoto. I'm endoscopist, GI endoscopist, working at National Cancer Center Hospital, Tokyo. And AI is the hot topic in GI endoscopy area. So I'd like to talk about paradigm shift. To what extent will AI change and endoscopic practice? Shall I? And I'm talking about three topics. The challenge one in endoscopy. Do you know how high the error rate in medical endoscopy report is? Maybe around 25%. And endoscopy tasks that you envision, endoscopy procedure, after endoscopy procedure, that we need to write down the medical records. Endoscopies have many other tasks beside the endoscopy treatment, writing endoscopy reports after the procedure is completed. And overlooked steps are noticed pain. Besides wasting time, various errors can occur due to the inability to concentrate on examination and treatment. During endoscopy procedure, we have to observe the lesion, entire stomach or colon, and when we check the lesion, diagnose and treatment. And during these procedures, we have to memorize everything. And after the endoscopy procedure completed, we have to recall, review endoscopy images and typing. The error could be occurred and time wasted. Time and effort saving with even fewer errors. It is not necessary to memorize, recall, reviewing images. And if we have the medical co-pilot, interactive voice response, the electronic medical record completed easily. And I'd like to introduce one endoscopy co-pilot, Evers. This is the venture company in Taiwan, and doctor is originally, he was endoscopist, and he visited our National Cancer Center hospital 20 years ago, and now he is the AI venture company director. Give us a go. Now that our NCCH, I'm using the Evers. It's a voice recording system, but not medical AI at this moment. Lateral spreading tumor.
Lateral spreading tumor. Select.
Ascending colon.
Location ascending colon. Select.
Size 4.
Size 4 cm. Select.
JNet 2B.
JNet 2B. Select.
LSTNG.
Morphology LSTNG. Select.
ESD envelope.
Intervention ESD. Unblock. Select.
Indigo Carmine.
Indigo Carmine. Select.
Polyp.
Polyp. Select.
S colon.
Location sigmoid colon. Select.
Size 1.5.
Size 1.5 cm. Select.
028.
Morphology 028. Select.
JNet 2A.
JNet 2A. Select.
EMR.
Intervention EMR. Select.
If you cannot use this kind of co-pilot,
Hemoclip 2.
after the
Select.
procedure, you have to write every procedure by yourself. So using this, the CanCon co-pilot, it saves significant amount of time, 46%, 3% time saved. And this time saving increase when the region detected increase. And this is another co-pilot, the RACES software. This is commercially available in Japan. At our National Cancer Center, we introduced the full RACES software system in endoscopy rooms. During the procedure, when we reach to the CCAM, we say CCAM reached. And then this RACES software calculated the insertion time and as well as observation time automatically. And when we find the lesion, it's same as the CanCon co-pilot. We just say the location, the tumor morphology, tumor size, and JNet classification, pit pattern, and estimated histology and treatment procedure. In addition, we modified this base software for the endoscopic treatment for ESD. Now for the ESD, we could calculate the procedure time of ESD as well as the closure time. So using this system, we could make the endoscopy medical report easily with a short time. And in addition, more importantly, after integrating this basis software data set, we could automatically integrate it to our endoscopy database system, Fuji Nexus system. And also the preparation, use of the sedation, Buscopan, all these data integrated to the Nexus system, our endoscopy database. And the second topic, the challenge in endoscopy, need of massive AI production. Misdiagnosis, 6 to 28% lesion missed in endoscopy, even by expert endoscopists. And AI detection and characterization, manual labeling, costly. Now I'd like to show NEC AI software. We collaborate this WISE vision with NEC at National Cancer Center Hospital. And great help from Professor Hamamoto. He's the chief of the AI division in NCC. And this WISE vision from NEC can conduct the polyp detection, CAD-E, as well as the characterization of the lesion based on the Vienna classification. The non-neoplastic lesion, it is not necessary to be resected by endoscopy, and adenomatous lesion, precancerous lesion should be diagnosed and treated by endoscopy at the time of the detection. And diagnostic accuracy is really high. And we have published one paper to endoscopy using our WISE vision to detect really difficult 02C, de novo type cancer, and diagnose this and treat it with curative resection. This kind of 02C, depressed type cancer, so-called phantom carcinoma, or local disease in Japan in 20 years ago. But this kind of the de novo type cancer, it really exists. And for us endoscopists, it's really important to detect this kind of the small depressed type, de novo type cancer without miss. And we believe using this, the AI developed in Japan is become commercially available in the Western countries, maybe even in the Western world. This kind of really difficult to detect de novo cancer could be detected in the Western countries. Now this is a just less than 1 centimeter depressed type lesion, easily overlooked without AI or with non-expert endoscopist. Until now, only expert endoscopists could detect these lesions. And WISE vision could point out this 2C, 7 millimeter 2C lesion. And nowadays, we could use the image enhanced endoscopy, the PIT pattern with 100 times magnification, and endocytoscopy is 500 times magnification, that we could diagnose this 7 millimeter lesion as early cancer. And en bloc endoscopic resection completed the histology debate well differentiated tubular adenocarcinoma, the curative resection was achieved. If we overlook this lesion at the timing of endoscopy, maybe 1 year later or 2 years later, this cancer could be the invasive cancer, and the patient need surgery with lymph node dissection. So AI could help the patient with high quality of QOL. But the research and development schedule for this NEC-wise vision, it took very long time. So we have started the trial study with NEC from 2015, and in 2017, we did a pre-release of this AI software. But finally, Wise Vision medical device approval from PMDA is 2020. And at the same timing, CMAC also approved. Now, we are trying to do the CMAC for CADX diagnosis. And as shown, at this moment, the many AI product for endoscopy is commercially available in worldwide. But importantly, many of them are from Japanese medical company. Because in Japan, the endoscopist and also the medical company is very high quality in the world. That's why among these, the commercially available AI in the world, most of them are from Japan. How about the cost effectiveness of AI? Although CAD-E detection may lead to cost reduction in the long term by reducing post-colonoscopy colorectal cancer, overlooked cancer. But there is a concern that in the short term, cost will increase with increased polypectomy and shorter endoscopic surveillance interval. But our colleague, Dr. Sekiguchi, conducted a cost-effective analysis of medical AI using a microsimulation model. And from this microsimulation study, if the cost of CAD-E is up to about $60 US, the use of CAD-E may be cost-effective. And we have a really good news for you. From next April, the medical AI for polyp detection get the first reimbursement in the world. The cost is just $60 US. It's not so expensive, but it's a very important that we could get the medical reimbursement first in the world. And at our NCCH, we have just started the multi-center randomized control trial to assess the usefulness of CAD system for colonoscopy in colorectal cancer screening in the Asia-Pacific region. This is a multi-country in Asia, randomized controlled trial. So please looking forward to these results. Finally, I'd like to talk about the future of endoscopy AI. Future endoscopy, precise and efficient, is really important. Voice technology and massive AI. And all-traveled image database, the Kencom collaborating with the Intel, Wincom, and in Taiwan Medical University and National Cancer Center Hospital, we are going to start their prospective collaboration. And at our NCCH, we have started the Mirai project to develop the medical AI and ongoing project endoscopy AI with NEC and Professor Habamoto, and pathology AI with NEC, endoscopic full thickness resection and resection with virtual reality. And Japan endoscopy database project, JED, very important for making the AI, the big database is efficient. The world's largest endoscopy database in Japan. The all JGS certificated institution now using the Japan endoscopy database format. It's a vendor-free format. And we have written the first report of current state of diagnosis and therapeutic colonoscopy in Japan using the Japan endoscopy database project. So from now on, we could publish more and more data using the unified JEDO project. And we also have just started AI pathology project with NEC and AMED. The purpose is developing AI to estimate the 3D structure of deepest part of the early stage colorectal cancer. And in the future, our final dream might be the multimodal AI using the endoscopy images, radiology images, pathology images, whole slide pathology, and as well as the clinical data, the genome and metagenome. And finally, we could predict the metastasis or recurrence, the prognosis. The mission of the NCC Mirai project is fostering young talent for the future. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. Let us open for discussion. Please.
Yeah, I'm Jen from Vietnam. It's very an excellent presentation. We all know that Japan is the leader in the field of endoscopy, and Vietnamese doctors coming over here to learn that. But I have two small questions. For the first part, about the voice recognition technology. For that one, you basically use the voice technology only, or voice technology combined with taking images at the same time, and label that images, in the real time?
Thank you very much. It's a very important question. At this moment, unfortunately, the Kencon AI co-pilot, endoscopy co-pilot, or RACES software, just a voice recording. But in the near future, the also Kencon system will be integrated with AI technology. And also the now current AI product in Japan, the NEC Wise Vision, Olympus, and Brain, Fuji Cadwai, they are also thinking about when we use the AI technology, after the endoscopy procedure completed, AI could make the endoscopy report finally. That's a maybe future plan.
Thank you. The second question is for your data project, later the last one. Do you foresee one day that you have the kind of portal that doctors from all over the world, that they have some challenging cases, and then they just submit to that data and kind of help them in diagnose some challenging case?
Thank you very much. So Japan endoscopy database just started. Unfortunately, at this moment, we are collecting the endoscopy data, only the text data, not using the endoscopy image. But we are thinking about in the future, maybe you could use the cloud database. We could collect not only text data, but also the endoscopy images, as well as their endoscopy movies. And then maybe such kind of the huge big data will make a new AI technology.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you for a beautiful image and the successful output of development endoscopy. And I would like to confirm which type of AI system which type mean vendor-free or a specific device, which do you use?
Thank you very much. Our NEC Wise Vision strength is the vendor-free. So our NEC Wise Vision could be integrated to the Olympus or Fujifilm or Pentax endoscopy system. Because for the education data set, we use all of the 3 endoscopy systems, Olympus, Fuji, Pentax. So that's a very huge task, but it's really important. But unfortunately, other Olympus EndBrain system or Fuji Cadwai system is only for the one endoscopy systems.
Okay. We were also very interested because we are developing ultrasound diagnostic system. But image of ultrasound very depend on the device type. So we have a strategy to suppress such a dependency. So,
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe education database data set is really important. You should collect it, huge number of education data set from many US ultrasound companies.
thank you.
Are there any question or comment? Thank you again, Professor Sato.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let us move for the next speaker. The fourth speaker, this is the last speaker, is Professor Masaya Sato. Could you please start your presentation?
Thank you very much, Professor Hamamoto. And it is a great honor to talk in this Congress. I really appreciate the chairman to give me such a great opportunity. Today, I will talk about the application of machine learning in the diagnosis and management of liver disease, especially in the diagnosis. I have no conflict of interest to disclose related to this study. Recently, AI has attracted attention in various fields. Many clinical data to enhance AI is accumulated in a daily clinical practice. And AI is able to integrate the data from the clinical sites. And AI integration of the clinical data becomes more important. First of all, AI is a tool for data mining. One of the aims of data mining using AI in clinical practice is to identify high-risk patients with a specific disease. Identifying high-risk patients using an integration of complex data is very important in clinical settings. Today, I will talk about two topics related to my study: predicting the presence or absence of liver cancer using AI, and the utility of multimodal AI, which integrates the multiple types of information such as image or numerical data. Okay, let's start from the first topic. The physicians use data mining in our clinical practice. Our hepatologist's job is to follow up the patients with a high risk of liver cancer and detect the cancer in its early stage to make it treatable. Japanese guideline recommends a regular tumor markers assessment such as AFP for early tumor detection. However, not only the tumor markers, we usually make a comprehensive judgment using IALT, which is an indicator of the liver inflammation, albumin, which is an indicator of the liver function or nutrition status, or moreover, age or sex, which may alter the probability of hepatocellular carcinoma in the patient. And if the data seems to be strange and the presence of HCC is suspected, we recommend a CT for the definitive diagnosis. In this process, we unconsciously add weight to each variable and estimate the overall probability of HCC. This prediction of HCC is based on the experience of each doctor or physicians. We integrate the information related to HCC using our accumulated past experience and estimate the probability of HCC using some kind of data. By using computers, we can replace this physician's experience with machine learning algorithms. And machine learning algorithms make it possible to integrate the clinical data like a tumor marker or patient background and make a prediction for the presence of liver cancer. Machine learning is a driving force behind AI, and it is a method to attempt to realize the human learning ability with a computer. Machine learning model is trained using a training data with a ground truth table and with the presence of the liver cancer indicated by 1 and absence of liver cancer indicated by 0. Machine learning model trained the patterns of all variables and related to the presence of HCC and make a final decision. We previously developed a machine learning framework which automatically selects the best fitted model from several types of machine learning models, such as a neural network or a decision tree, and optimize the hyperparameters to control the machine learning behaviors using research methods according to the input data, such as CSV or Excel file. The aim of our first study is to apply our machine learning framework and develop a machine learning model for the prediction of the presence or absence of HCC using existing data. We included a total of 1,582 patients. And as shown in the previous studies, a proportion of male, age, and tumor markers are significantly higher in the HCC group. On the contrary, platelet count was significantly lower in the patients with liver cancer. For the development of the machine learning model, we used a total of 16 variables as shown here, including the patient background or liver information or viral markers. We randomly divided a total of 1,082 patients into 3 parts. 80% of our sample for the training set, 10% for the validation set for settings and the hyperparameters, and 10% for validation set. The model was trained using a training and validation set, and then investigated the performance of the model using the test of set of 158 cases. This slide shows the training process of machine learning model for cancer prediction. Using the training and validation data, our machine learning framework automatically selects the optimal algorithm and hyperparameter for this data. Our machine learning framework developed a model for HCC prediction. In this study, gradient boosting, one of the decision tree algorithms, was selected as an optimal classifier. Also, the figures shown here as extracted as an optimal hyperparameters. This hyperparameter includes a rule to make a tree or learning rate. The accuracy of this model was 87.3%. In this study, we also assessed the accuracy of deep learning. The accuracy was 83.5%. This result shows that although deep learning is a really strong model, but it is not always an optimal solution. Here's a comparison of machine learning model with tumor markers. The accuracy of a tumor marker only is about 70%, and the use of machine learning model could reduce the misclassification rate by about half. When we look at the weighting variables in the optimal model focused on age, tumor markers, or a platelet count, which is an indicator of the liver fibrosis. The model was correctly weighting the variables that we also considered as important factors for predicting the absence or presence of liver cancer. This is the weighting variables in the neural network model, which shows the low accuracy in this analysis. Neural network model gave a stronger weight to gender or bilirubin than to age or tumor markers, which is very important for the prediction of liver cancer. The model emphasized the factors which seems important for predicting the HCC. This is a brief summary of this section. Machine learning algorithms make it possible to integrate clinical data and make prediction for the presence of liver cancer. The method of weighting performed by machine learning model is an important factor to determining the performance of this model. Then we move on to the second topic, the utility of multimodal AI. Ultrasonography is a very useful tool for the detection of liver tumor. However, we cannot make a definitive diagnosis only by US image. Since information on blood flow is required for the diagnosis, contrast-enhanced CT or MRI is needed to determine the tumor characteristics. The reason for the difficulty of making the diagnosis of the tumor only in US alone is that an ultrasound image is difficult to quantify, such as stain in the arterial phase or a defect in the portal phase, which indicating the HCC. Quantification of ultrasound image can be performed using machine learning, such as deep learning. And if ultrasound image could be objectively quantified, it would be possible to make a definitive diagnosis of a liver tumor by ultrasound alone. And it may lead to the reduction of the medical cost. Recently, a deep learning model which can integrate multiple types of modalities such as numerical data like a blood test or patient background, medical image, or natural language. We use multiple types of information for disease diagnosis. And multimodal AI is now expected to be useful too in the medical field. In the medical practice, we can obtain useful variables for the prediction of the characteristics of the tumor, and, not only the ultrasound image. We can obtain information of liver inflammation or liver fibrosis. So why don't we use this information for the diagnosis of liver cancer? So the aim of the second study is to examine the utility of multimodal representation model that adds medical information to ultrasound image for the diagnosis of a liver tumor. We included a total of 1,080 nodules in our study. The most of the benign and malignant tumors are hemangioma and HCC, respectively. And simple cyst was not included in this study. We used the MobileNet version 2 for this study. First, we applied a convolutional neural network to develop an ultrasound image-only model. Then we add the information of the patient background, such as age and sex, followed by liver inflammation, liver fibrosis, liver function or nutrition status using albumin. Since a considerable number of the tumor marker data is lacking in the benign tumor patients, we did not include the information of liver tumor markers in this analysis. We randomly divided a total of 1,082 patients into 3 parts, just as the same as the previous studies shown in this presentation. This slide shows the result of the performance of the ultrasound image-only model. Diagnostic accuracy for the prediction of malignant tumor was 85.5%. Since the number of images used in the training of this model was not many, the performance of model is not so high. This slide shows the performance of model 2 through 4, which incorporate the clinical information of the patient background, liver inflammation, and liver fibrosis. As more information was added to the image, the performance of the model improved. And in model 4, which incorporated the patient background information and fibrosis data, shows the accuracy of 91.7%. This is the final model which integrates the data of the US image and patient background, liver information, fibrosis, and albumin. The diagnostic accuracy of this prediction of benign or malignant tumor for this model reached 96.3%. Here's the final comparison of an area under the curve between the model 1, which is an image-only model, and the model 5, which integrates the clinical information. Integration of patient background and blood biomarkers in addition to US image using multimodal representation running outperformed the CNN model using the ultrasound image only. This is a very first summary of this section. By integrating the clinical data using multimodal AI, the capability for image diagnosis greatly improved. Multimodal AI is expected to be applied in the various fields for the use of the risk stratification of precision medicine in medicine in future. Because of a time constraint, I won't dig deeper into the detail. But finally, I would like to introduce the AI model for future prediction. Recently, new machine learning models that can deal with time axis, like a deep serve or random survival forest, were introduced. Outstanding feature of these models is their ability to deal with 2 variables, time and event, at the ground truth level. We published the HCC prediction model for post-SVR patients last year in the journal Hepatology and released a web app for the real clinical use. And this is the application we've developed. Enter the information like an AFP or albumin or AST and click the submit button. Then we can obtain the prediction curve and the predicted HCC incidence at 1, 3, and 5 years which is really important to determine the future strategy and of the follow-up of each patient. And the source code of this application is stored in my GitHub account. And finally, I would like to make a conclusion. I'm sorry. I would like to finish my presentation by making following conclusions. AI integration of clinical data can be useful in medical practice. I really appreciate all contributors related to my study. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Let's open for the free discussion. Are there any comment or question to Professor Sato?
I have a question, yes. And Dr. Sato, impressive your research, so congratulations. I have a question regarding the model you use for ultrasound. Did the model depended on the nodule size? Because one of the pitfalls of ultrasound is that many times you can miss the nodule. So I'm not sure if the model always included the nodule or not, or it depends on if the nodule is bigger or smaller than 2 centimeters. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, sorry. In the study, we did not analyze the effect of the tumor size. So sorry, I cannot answer your question for the moment. But yeah, but I think the tumor diameter is have an impact on the accuracy of the machine learning model.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any question, comment? Okay, I have one question. So you are the academic staff in the University of Tokyo. That's what I'd like to ask you. So as you know, the current artificial intelligence technology is quickly developed. So maybe education to medical students should be changed. Do you have any idea for ideal education to students? Yeah, including graduate students or something. So, yeah, of course, your opinion is welcome.
Yeah, actually, it's a very difficult question, so I'm not sure I can answer your question correctly. But generally speaking, I think that be interesting in the in machine learning model is most important factor to make student to begin the study. And many universities now provide some kind of the department of the AI, which can include the medical students. Yeah, I think this kind of atmosphere or situation will make the students more interested in AI, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much. Any other question? Okay.
Thank you very much for your great talk. I'm Letty from Osaka Metropolitan University. I'm very interested with your application, smart model. And you said that is model to detect the SCC risks in post-SVR patient. SCC risks in post-SVR patient, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, post-SVR. Yeah, because it is very difficult to quantify the risk of the patient with post-SVR. So that's why I use a machine learning model to quantify the risk.
Yeah. So how about SBV patient? Do you have any plan to make the application for SBV patient? Predicts SBV, SCC in SBV patients, something like that.
Yeah, actually, we have the registration data related to the post-SVR patients. So we can analyze a large amount of patients. But unfortunately, we don't have any kind of registry data which I can access in terms of the HBV. So sorry, I cannot make and develop a machine learning model for the HBV for the moment. But if we can obtain the data on the HBV patient, yeah, I can apply the same method, and I think I will be able to develop the model.
Thank you very much.
Are there any question or comment? Thank you again, Professor Sato.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's wrap up this session. Thank you so much for joining this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much to lecturers and moderators.